Okay, if you are clicking on this video, that means that you have done some background and you read about and listened to what an infographic is. And quite simply, um, it is info, which is short for information, and a graphic is visual. So an infographic is just a visual that shows information. And you should have looked at the sheet that tells you what should be in it. And then you looked at, or you completed the brainstorm sheet where you made your questions for your Google form. And so now that you've done some background, now that you've picked a topic, now that you've made your questions, you're now ready to make your Google form. And so you'll see that I'm sitting in my drive. Well, I'm sitting in my Google Forms folder. I went to my drive. I went to my tech folder. I went to units. We're still in unit 1. And I'm in my Google Form folder. Most of you have made the Google Form folder. If for some reason you haven't, please pause this, make a Google Forms folder, and that's where you want to be. Okay, one last thing is I have my brainstorm sheet on a tab so I can go back and forth as we go. So the first thing I want to do is hit New. And just like when we did Google Drawings, it's not one of the options that comes up. If I hover over More and I move over, Google Forms is at the top. So I want to get one of those. And so now here's what it looks like from a maker's point of view. It looks a little different than the final of what the person will see. But here we are, and it's pretty plain. The first thing, just like always, is I'm going to go up and I'm going to name it. I'm just going to, I would name it whatever your topic is. So mine was vacations. And then I'm going to put Google Form Student Survey Assignment. Okay. When I click down here, did you notice that the title up here is what came down here? Now, I don't really need the people that are going to see it to see the Google Form Student Survey Assignment. So I'm going to get that out of there and just leave vacations. Now, so we have titled it. When we clicked in the box, it moved that down here. I fixed to the title that I want the people to see. Right now, this is highlighted. We're in questions. We'll worry about responses later. We'll come back. That's a different video after once your peers have taken your Google form. We'll start the question in a minute. The first thing I want you to do, though, is there's a form description. And basically, you're going to tell your reader just a little bit of something. So if we go to my example, what I told you guys was I'm trying to gather popular answers to these vacation questions to better understand how our class views vacations. Thank you for taking a few minutes to take my quick survey. I plan to share my results soon. Just a brief little note. Now, whether some of you read that or not, I'm going to go back here. And so I would like you to fill that in. So even if you just tell them what you're doing, like I am trying to blah, 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 blah. And then maybe you thank them. Thank you for taking my survey. It's just a little note to the people that are going to be taking it. So I would like you to fill that in. Before we go to the question here, let's take a look at what is up here. The 3 dots is an undo. We could make a copy of this. We could move it to the trash. We get a pre-filled link. We could print it. We could add collaborators. So say that you were doing a project for another class, or say that you were doing something outside of class and you wanted to work on it with somebody else. When you hit add collaborators, you could actually come down here and invite someone. So, I always talk about Mrs. Miller. I could click on Mrs. Miller, and then her and I both would be able to work on this together. We're not going to worry about script editor, add-ons, preferences. You can look at those if you want. And so here's the options there, which we don't really need to do anything with that. The send button, there's one big thing that we need to worry about is it says automatically collect respondents' email address. So right now it's not checked. So when somebody fills in my form, I'm not going to get their address. So if I want their address, you need to click it. Miss D, when would I need their address? Well, say that you were getting information like t-shirt sizes. you need to have this checked so that when they complete it and they tell you they need a size medium and a gray, you know what size and what color they're getting. Otherwise, you're going to have a bunch of colors and sizes and have no idea who to hand them out to, and then it'll be a wasted effort. Like if I was giving a quiz, again, I would need to have this checked, because if I don't, I would have a bunch of random scores coming in and I wouldn't know who they are. Or when I send out a Google form, like when I did the other day, and you guys completed it, I needed to collect your addresses so I know who completed the checklist sheet. So you just need to decide. For our assignment, you could check it if you wanted to see the 10 people, their names. You don't need to check it. For what we're doing, it doesn't matter. Be careful that if you give out a survey and it's anonymous, you definitely wouldn't want to check this, because you're promising them that they will stay kind of behind the scenes. So for this assignment, you can pick either way. Send, you can, we're going to talk about the link, and there's a way to shorten the link, and then we're going to eventually copy it, and I'll show you how to do that, because that's how you're going to share this out with 10 people. Here you can type in who it's going to. The subject is vacations. The message says, I've invited you to fill out a form. I'm going to leave all those. They're okay. Include form in an email. We're just going to send a link. Again, add collaborators down here. The send button. You could share in Google+. You could do it Facebook. You could do it Twitter. So that's what's here. The biggest thing is deciding whether you need to check this box, and then knowing that we're going to come back to send when we need to get the link, which will be in a different tutorial. In a different tutorial. So I'm going to cancel out of this. Settings. General, again, you would want to click this if you wanted to collect email addresses. You would want to check this. I would suggest just checking this, meaning that only people in Jackson Local School District can respond to this. So for this assignment, I would just check that. If this is checked, if you wanted to send a friend in a different school this survey, they wouldn't see it. They wouldn't be able to get to it because they don't have access. Limit to one response. You would want to click it if you want to only have that person be able to do it one time. So if I'm giving a quiz, I would absolutely want to limit it to one time. If it's something that, like t-shirt sizes, maybe I wouldn't limit to one response, because maybe they wanted to go back in again. But then down here, the better option for that respondent might be, if I had this clicked, edit after submit. So if I'm doing t-shirts, if I click this, that means if they went, oh, shoot, I don't want gray, I want purple, they could go in and edit after they submitted. No harm, no foul. And then see summary charts and text responses. There's not really a need unless you wanted them to see the summary charts and text responses. For this assignment, you don't want them to see it, because that's why you're making the infographic, is to share things out. And so you kind of just decide, and once you decide, you hit save. Preview, and we'll show that once we make a couple questions. We'll actually show you what it looks like. And on this one, here's what it looks like for, this is a preview. And let's see. Oops. Okay, so here's what our preview looks like right now. I'm trying to blah, blah, blah. Thank you for your survey, taking my survey. And we have 0 questions because we haven't done anything yet. But that's what it looks like so far. Over here, theme options. You notice you can stay simple, and you could just say, I just want to change the color. I just want it to be a color. You could do swirled colors. You can change background. You can change the font. This is basic up there. You could do fancy. You could do formal. You could do more of like a casual. And if you're like, well, I want more than just color, if you came up to header, you can do things here. They give you preloaded ones where you can go through the different categories. So say that I want the jelly beans or the Mike and Ike's, whatever they are. I can click that. It's going to load. Now you'll see that the bottom kind of changes to match here. I can again mess with colors that I like. I can add a color. and so on and so forth. So now one more thing, I'm sorry. When you upload, if I don't want to use something they have, I can go find something on the internet and I can upload it, or say I have something saved, I can do that as well. And so you can choose when to do it. Before you turn it in, you need to have at least colors. If you choose not to have a banner, that's okay. But you need to have at least colors for me for this assignment. You want it to be visually appealing for the person taking it. Okay, so now that we have customizing your theme, we're not going to worry about add-ons. So now here's where we are. We have named it. We have gone in and we have checked the boxes for automatically sending. I've gone into settings where I'm going to collect email addresses, response receipts. I'm going to restrict them. I'm going to let them edit. We know that we can preview here. We kind of already have. You could preview if you want to see what the jelly bean looks like. You could preview it now. Looks pretty nice. Again, we don't have any questions yet. And so now we're ready to, and we've titled it and we've left them a brief note. So now we are ready to make our questions. And this is where it's going to be kind of nice to have this student survey up, because I think we should be able to copy and paste, or you can just at least look. So remember we did the brainstorm and we said we were going to work smarter, not harder? Here we go. Okay, so when I click down here, I'm going to get my little work area up. If I come over to the drop down, you'll see all kinds of options. I can do short answers, I can do a paragraph, I can do multiple choice, checkboxes where they can check more than one, drop down options. You could do a file upload if you want to watch something, a linear scale, and I did that on mine where you can have them rank things, multiple choice grids, checkbox grids, dates, times. The ones I'm going to propose are possibly a short answer. You might not. I did that last short answer of where could you, if you were in charge of vacations, where would you go? Just to see what some of the answers were. Short answer meant I was looking for more than a word, but I definitely wouldn't do a paragraph. I think your peers would not be very happy if they have to type a paragraph. And for what we're doing, we don't want a paragraph. But you could do a short answer if you wanted to, but then you're going to have to figure out how to respond, or are you going to include any of that information on your infographic? So we'll get to that when I showed you how I did mine, because I did have a short answer. I'm going to propose that you think about multiple choice, check boxes, drop down, linear scale. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, possibly 5. And remember that in the assignment, you need to have 3 different kinds. And so we have our untitled question. And so if I click here, I can backspace, I can number them, I can say number 1. And then if I go to my survey, if you're going to go on vacation, which type of place do you desire the most? Okay, I'll make that one first. So let's see if this works. If I copy, I can paste it in there. So you can work smarter, not harder. So if you're going on vacation, which type of place do you desire the most? I don't want it. I didn't have them rank it. For this one, I had a list. So I'm going to get out of linear scale, and I'm going to say it's multiple choice where they have to pick just one. I can go back up here. I'm just going to type them in. I could copy and paste them. I'm going to go camping, wilderness. So camping. If I hit enter, I get my second option, wilderness. Enter. Go back, see what I have. Just toggle back and forth. Cruise. Road trip by car. Cruise. Road trip by car. Doesn't like one word. By car. I'm going to go ahead and then click them and let them add other. That way, if I didn't think of something, they can add it. And, whoops. I had it in my notes that, you know what, I'd let them add one. It's kind of hard to think of everything. So that's that question. So if I go back, all of these are what I have. Down here, I could make a copy if I'm going to do a question that's kind of like this, where I would just then clear out number 1 and do number 2, and then I would have options down. So you can hit duplicate, and you would get the same kind of multiple choice setup. Then you'd have to just change the text and the options. You could trash it. You could do a description, shuffle order. So for right now, I just have one. So if you want to see what it looks like, remember we can go to the preview. I can see what this will look like. And so if you're going on vacation, which type of place do you desire the most? Boom, here they are. Camping, wilderness, cruise, road trip, other. If you notice, I think I capitalized the O there. So when I go there, oh, it does it automatically. I can't change that. So, okay. I don't really want to duplicate because I'm not sure I'm going to do this exact setup. So if you come over here, you can make sections. You could add videos. You can add images. You can add titles and subtitles. So if anybody wants to play with these and get fancy, that's great. I'm not requiring it. So I just simply want to get another question. So I just hit another question. And so now I have a blank canvas again. And so I'm going to go back. What was my question number 2? I'm just going to X that out because I keep going back there. Question number 2 was, what method of transportation do you usually use? And so I have 4 choices. Just to show you a different one, I'm going to copy and paste it. Work smarter, not harder. We already did a multiple choice. So, whoops. Get out of the preview. See, that's why it's always good to keep your tabs limited. So here's my next question. So I'm going to go number 2. Control V. What method? And so we did the first one multiple choice. And so just to show you another one, instead of multiple choice, maybe I'll do drop down. So if I want it to be a drop down, you'll see it doesn't look drop down now, but it will. So my options were car, plane, boat, train. So I would go car, enter, plane, boat, train. And again, now if you're like, boy, I don't know, I'm looking at this, that's not how I want it to look. Here's how it drops down is going to look. I'm going to go back up to preview it. Oh, okay, it's okay. It's what I want. If I choose it, there's my options. So even though the drop down doesn't look like a drop down when you're creating it, it's okay. So again, I'm not sure I want the next one to be a drop down, so I'm not going to copy it. I'm just going to go up here and I'm going to say, give me another question. I'm going to go back and see what my next question is. And I'm going to go to one that's a scale of 1 to 5. So I'm going to go to, on a scale of 1 to 5, how important is it to get away? So I'm going to do Control Copy. I'm going to come here. I'm going to go, this is question number 3, Control V. Now, if you look, it picked up that it's a linear scale. If not, you would pick linear scale. Now, here's how you do it. It's going to ask you for just the both ends. So it'll say number 1, and then I have to label it. So I have to say number 1, not important. It wants to know what the parameters mean. So, and then 5 would mean very important. As you notice, if you're like, what happened to 2, 3, 4? When I preview it, it'll be there. So again, kind of like the drop down where it doesn't look like it's going to look, this will be okay. So if you want to check, go back up to preview. I come here. Oh, okay. I did the not important, the very important, and then it filled in 2, 3, 4 for me. And then I'm just going to show you the one other option that I think you might use, and that was the short answer, which was this one, if you could be in charge of your next vacation. So I'm just going to go back up to my Google form. And again, I don't want to copy it because I'm not really looking for that. So go ahead and give me one more. I'm going to go, this is question 4. Oops. This is question 4. Control V. It picked paragraph. I don't want paragraph. I just want it to be a short answer. Paragraph means you're hoping that they write a lot. So here, short answer will look kind of like it does on the screen. We'll take a look. So we have our multiple choice, our drop down, our ranking, and then the short answer it'll say your answer right here, which they can type a little bit. Okay. One thing I also want to show you too is see how you have this right here and it turns into like a cross. That means I can click here, say I want this one to be in front of, I'll have to change my numbers, but I can move that around. So any of them that you want to drag, if you grab like where these 6 dots are, you can drag it. Okay. So those are the options. I've shown you 4. What was the 5th one? Let me check and see. The 5th one. Multiple choice. Oh, the checkboxes. We need to do a checkbox one. So let me go down and we'll add one more. I didn't show you how to do the checkbox. So we'll do add. Go back to where my checkbox one was, which question did I ask for a checkbox? Oh, it was this one, on vacation. Which of the following activities do you usually do? Check all that apply. So I'm going to do this. It's not sure what, oh, it picked up because I said check all that apply. And so now I want to say attractions with a guide. Let me see some. I'm going to cheat. A guide, no guide. So the next one I'm going to say maybe they go to attractions, but you don't take the guided tours, you just do it on your own. No guide. Maybe you go to amusement parks. Do I have any other wonderful ones in there? Let's see. Nothing formal, we make our own fun. So nothing formal, make our own fun. So now I've given them an option to pick as many as possible. I could also here, in case I can't think of everything, I might say add other, and that lets them add another one. And so let's take a look. Oh, the one thing I want to do though is I didn't number it. So this would be number 4. And then because I put that one in there, this one would have to be number 5. All right, so let's take a look and preview this. We should have 5 different kinds of questions. So I have 1, which is my multiple choice. I have 2, which is a drop down. I have 3 where they can rank for me. I have 4 where they can check all that apply, including the other where they can then give me some information there. And then 6 is my short answer where they can just start to type, I'm going to type New York City because blah, 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 blah. And so these are 5 types that you might want to use. Remember that you need to use 3. And I'm going to stop for now. I will do a different video with the next step, which will be to take a look at the results. So happy making questions. Hopefully now you'll see the benefit of having brainstormed.